The hospital room smelled faintly of antiseptic and sadness. Machines beeped softly beside the frail figure of Emily Carter, the only daughter of one of New York's richest businessmen, Richard Carter. Her skin was pale, her body weak, and her once bright eyes had grown dim under the shadow of an illness that even the world's best doctors couldn't cure. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life stories with unexpected twists that will warm your heart. Richard stood by the window, his suit perfect but his soul shattered. His empire, hotels, tech companies, private jets meant nothing now. Money had always solved his problems, but not this one. The doctors had told him bluntly, "Mr. Carter, Emily has 3 days left, maybe less. There's nothing more we can do." He had nodded then, silently, like a man drowning who no longer fights the waves. Outside the hospital, life went on. Cars honked, people hurried, and among them wandered Liam, a barefoot street boy no older than 12. He sold flowers and polished shoes to earn just enough for bread each night. But beneath his ragged clothes, he carried something priceless, a heart full of hope. That evening, as Liam stood near the hospital gate selling flowers, he saw something unusual. A middle-aged man with tears in his eyes, throwing money at a fountain and whispering a prayer. It was Richard Carter. Liam hesitated, then walked up. "Sir, are you okay?" he asked softly. Richard looked down at the boy, confused and slightly irritated. "Go away, kid, you wouldn't understand." But Liam didn't leave. "Maybe not, sir, but my mom used to say that when you talk about your pain, it gets smaller." Something about the boy's voice, its innocence, broke through Richard's walls. He sighed, sat on a bench, and told Liam about Emily. The boy listened quietly, then said, "Can I see her?" Richard frowned. "She's in the ICU, son. You can't just walk in." Liam smiled faintly. "I won't disturb her. I just want to give her a flower. Maybe it'll make her smile." An hour later, after some hesitation and the desperate acceptance that nothing else had worked, Richard convinced the staff to let Liam visit for a minute. When the boy entered the room, Emily was sleeping. Her tiny hand rested on the white blanket. Liam placed a small, half-wilted daisy near her pillow and whispered, "Don't give up. The world still needs your smile." To everyone's surprise, Emily's eyes fluttered open. She saw the boy, his torn shirt, and his bare feet, and for the first time in weeks, she smiled. "You're not supposed to be here," she whispered weakly. "I know," Liam said, grinning, "but I brought magic." She giggled softly, and that sound, light as air, filled the room with life. Over the next 2 days, Liam came again, sneaking in when nurses weren't looking, telling Emily stories about the streets, about his friend who sold newspapers but wanted to be a pilot, about a stray dog he fed every night, and about how he slept under the stars and pretended they were diamonds. Emily laughed until her cheeks turned pink again. She made him promise that someday he'd go to school. He promised, "But only if you promise to get better," he said. And somehow she did. The doctors were stunned. Her oxygen levels improved. The infection that was supposed to kill her began to fade. They called it a medical anomaly. Richard called it a miracle. But Emily had a different name for it. "It's Liam," she said, smiling. "He gave me hope when no one else could." 3 days turned into a week. A week became a month. Emily recovered fully. One afternoon, she and her father went back to the street corner where they had met Liam. But he was gone. They searched the nearby alleys until they found him sitting by a wall, clutching a broken shoe and looking tired. When he saw them, he jumped up. "Emily, you're okay." She ran to him and hugged him tightly. Richard's eyes filled with tears. "Liam," he said quietly, "you gave my daughter her life back. I owe you more than I can ever repay." The boy shook his head. "You don't owe me anything, sir. She gave me something too, a reason to believe that kindness matters." But Richard wouldn't take no for an answer. He arranged for Liam to live in a safe home, enrolled him in school, and made sure he had everything he needed. Years later, Emily Carter stood on a grand stage accepting her medical degree. In the front row sat her proud father, and beside him, a young man in a crisp suit, smiling shyly. It was Liam. When she took the microphone, Emily's voice trembled. Once I had only 3 days to live, but a poor street boy gave me something no doctor could, hope. Today, I dedicate this degree to him, because sometimes the greatest miracles are born from the smallest acts of kindness. The audience stood and applauded, tears in their eyes. And as Liam smiled, he whispered to himself, "I told you I'd go to school."